talk to me like I'm a dummy. The FBI, many of my friends on the right will say she is a dummy, and I'll give them that. The FBI in 2025 takes an allegation that allegedly happens to a 13 or 14-year-old who describes a sexual assault followed by a physical assault. The FBI in 2025 was run by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And Pam Bondi has handed out massive white binders, and Donald Trump has gone on Fox and said, yeah, we'll release this stuff, most of this stuff. Just talk me through what has to precede that for people at the FBI working for Kash Patel in 2025 to have this allegation in a document.
So I think it's important to note, I'm going to nitpick a little bit with your language and say that the people at the FBI are not working for Kash Patel. And I'm not saying that out of some
I appreciate that.
Pride. But the reason it's important for this discussion is that the people who work violent crimes against children, the people who work human trafficking, the people who work public corruption, believe deeply in their mission. And they are not going to hide or obfuscate facts simply because Kash Patel or Todd Blanche or Pam Bondi wants them to. And if it was part of the case file, I imagine that none of them withdrew it, and they're the ones who know the file best. What I suspect happened here was that there was probably a ham-fisted account by Department of Justice or FBI very senior executives to sort of scrub the files of anything damaging to the president, and some documentation slipped through. And to quote a cliche that everybody who's ever worked in politics or government knows, oftentimes it's not the crime that gets you, it's the cover-up.
Yeah.
And what appears to be happening here is that there was a very poorly done cover-up because they didn't bother to realize that they had put serial numbers on all the documents they produced. So if some went missing or never showed up, it was going to be patently obvious to anybody who had the time and the patience to go through the entirety of the production.
So I appreciate the note, and I take it, and the men and women of the FBI certainly are entitled to that, I think, space that you're giving them. And so I wasn't suggesting that the men and women who work on trafficking or sex crimes or violent crimes were part of a cover-up. I am curious, though, at a moment when even your own account of leaving the FBI, it is so abundantly clear that no one touches Donald Trump, that no cases against Donald Trump will be brought, that the cases worked by Jack Smith and his team have been put in the wood chipper to not see the light of day. How does this end up on a PowerPoint in 2025? What are the possible things? I mean, did they have a 302 is an FBI interview transcript. Did they have interview transcripts? Are those the 4 interviews? I mean, it seems that someone at the FBI in 2019 tried to run this down in interviewing this person 4 times, this potential victim 4 times. Is that the paper that would have led to this entry in the 2025 PowerPoint spreadsheet?
Most likely. And there's actually, I suspect, a fairly non-nefarious reason for the existence of the PowerPoint. As Andrew can also testify, the FBI has what I will call an unhealthy obsession with briefing matters to new executives and up the chain of command. And one of the ways that is frequently done is a case agent will provide a summary PowerPoint to an incoming executive to a field office or to headquarters covering the major wave tops of any investigation and any potentially sensitive points that may surface later. I suspect that's all this PowerPoint was, but the PowerPoint does give force to the suggestion that there was serious investigative activity done to ferret out whether these allegations against the president, the now president, were true. It is not usual to do 4 interviews in a row absent extenuating circumstances. And once again, I think they just really mishandled the cover-up that they were trying to carry out. And as a result, certain documents got through. The natural extrapolation from reading them is that there are more documents. And once again, Congress has been deceived, the American public has been deceived, and there has been another chunk taken out of the Justice Department's integrity.
Yeah, we are not going to